Toby Wong is a man who carries on his shoulders the weight of a past involving experiments that changed his life forever. He is not just a man, but the product of bioengineering intervention that made him a corporeal machine with incredible strength and speed. However, this advantage proved to be a curse, trapping him in a perpetual chase. Disillusioned with the corporation that used his body as a testing ground, Toby decides to flee. He leaves Hong Kong, hoping to find freedom and justice in America, but instead faces persecution, violence, and having to fight for his life. The movie begins with a tense scene in a cheap hotel where Toby is trying to hide from his enemies. The room looks worn out, cracked wallpaper, a creaky bed, a small TV with a rattling screen. He sits on the edge of the bed, gazing out the window. His face is tense, but his eyes express the weariness of a man who doesn't know when his escape will end. At that moment, the door of the suite breaks open with a clatter, and armed mercenaries rush in. Toby instantly switches into combat mode. He moves at lightning speed, his blows precise and devastating. Every object in the room, from a lamp to a chair, becomes a weapon in his hands. The ensuing fight is chaotic and furious, ending with him breaking a window and jumping from the second floor, disappearing into the night. In the morning, Toby finds himself at a gas station, where he tries to continue his journey unnoticed. At this point, he runs into Malcolm, the chatty and somewhat nervous bartender, who just happens to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Malcolm is sitting in his car, listening to the radio and peacefully eating a donut. Suddenly, Toby walks up to him, holding a gun. He demands that Malcolm take him to San Francisco. The bartender, scared and not understanding what's going on, starts asking a lot of questions, but quickly realizes it's better to just comply. During the trip, a dialogue develops between them, full of sharp remarks and sarcastic jokes. Malcolm tries to figure out who this strange man is, and Toby, though he keeps his distance, responds with a minimum of words. They stop at a roadside cafe, where Malcolm insists on getting at least a small bite to eat. Toby agrees, but their brief respite quickly turns into chaos when their enemies find them. The cafe is surrounded by mercenaries and a fierce firefight ensues. Toby acts with cold-blooded efficiency, using tables, chairs, and even plates as weapons. He orders Malcolm to hide, but the latter, feeling a rush of courage, throws a coffee pot at one of the attackers, creating a distraction. After a long and intense battle, Toby and Malcolm manage to escape, leaving behind a destroyed cafe. The journey continues. Malcolm, although in shock at what is happening, begins to feel sympathy for Toby. He notices that under his hard shell there is a man who just wants to get rid of the oppression of his fate. During one of the stops, Toby tells him that his body has been changed against his will. A biomechanical experimentation corporation made him stronger, faster, and tougher, but deprived him of a normal life. He tells how he lost his family, friends, and the opportunity to be a normal person. Malcolm, though he doesn't fully understand the burden, promises to help his new comrade. They find refuge in the home of a young woman named Dilia, who lives far from civilization. She is eccentric, slightly zany, but incredibly kind. Dilia immediately notices that Toby and Malcolm are in trouble and offers them shelter. She treats them to a dinner of strange dishes and talks endlessly, almost never letting them get a word in edgewise. Malcolm begins to sense Delia's obvious interest in him, and this causes several comical situations. However, their tranquility proves to be short-lived. During the night, the house is attacked by mercenaries. Dilia, despite her carefree nature, shows her wit by helping Toby and Malcolm fight them off. Toby rejoins the fight, showing off his incredible skills. Malcolm, armed with kitchen utensils, tries his best. The attack ends with the victory of the heroes, but Delia's house is destroyed. They thank her for her help and continue on their way. The closer they get to San Francisco, the stronger the pressure from the enemies becomes. Toby realizes that the corporation won't stop until they get him back. Malcolm, despite his initial insecurities, begins to show himself as a trustworthy and loyal friend. They share thoughts, plans, and even laugh at the absurdity of what is happening. The final scene unfolds in a huge hangar, where Toby and Malcolm finally meet with representatives of the corporation. Their goal is a final confrontation with the main mercenary, who has also been enhanced by biotechnology. This man is almost a mirror image of Toby, but more brutal and devoid of morals. The fight between them becomes a real climax. The blows follow one after another, each of them using all their strength and agility. Metal beams, crates, and machines in the hangar turn into a battlefield. Malcolm, who can't stand by, uses his remaining ammo to cover Toby, giving him a chance to win. Eventually, Toby manages to overpower his opponent, but he realizes that his fight is not over. The corporation won't stop as long as he lives. Words of gratitude are heard between Toby and Malcolm. Malcolm suggests that Toby stay and try to start a new life, but Toby realizes that his presence will only put his friends in danger. He walks off into the night, leaving behind him the shadow of a man who just wanted to be free.